Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is 5 reasons why I believe Dumitru Duduman's internal revolution has started. Let me take just a second, kind of talk to you a minute. I think that the number one soul winning method has and always will be the gospel, the blood of Jesus shed on the cross that dripped on the Ark of the Covenant, fulfilling all of the Levitical covenants concerning sacrifice and the washing of sins. But I also believe the number 2 message, as far as America goes, that will win more souls than anything else, is a message that the church, the pastors of the church, have ignored. They didn't like it. Dumitru Duduman sat on the electric chair twice. They couldn't kill him. That should be proof enough that the message is of God. But that doesn't fit with their agenda. I believe that when the internal revolution starts, and that's our topic today, we are going to see thousands, perhaps millions of Americans come to Jesus over the warning given to Dumitru Duduman. He's probably going to be proven to be the greatest soul winner, at least in the last 100 years in America. His message, that he sat on the electric chair twice to be qualified to get and to bring to America. Yet, America has thrown it in the trash. America doesn't like hearing it. And I might add, Prophecy Club's in another financial jam because I refuse to give it up. I refuse to try to tell you what you want to hear so that I'll get more donations. I'm not going to do that. And I think most of you that watch appreciate that. So, if you can help, now would be a really good time. Okay, first of all, I want some crypto. Now, one of the brothers sent me $1,000, and I'm going to get some crypto. I haven't yet, but I'm going to. Matter of fact, that's the next thing on my agenda. Now, I'm not making any financial predictions. I'm just telling you my personal life. I think it's going to be the thing between the death of the dollar and the rise of the digital currency. Probably that thing that will tie us over. So if you're thinking about getting it, I'll send you to prophecyclubcrypto.com. Go and check it out. They're happy to call you back and answer all your questions. All right, so first, we're going to talk about 5 reasons why I think the internal revolution has started. Now, it's not started enough to where most people would recognize it yet. You recall Dana Coverstone was told way back in 2020, the angel that visited him said, "A house divided against itself shall not stand." And the emphasis was on the word shall. In other words, a nation divided against itself, God is not going to allow to stand. I looked up, united we stand, divided we fall. What was the origin of that? And now here's the point. Apparently it started in a Liberty song back in 1768 by John Dickinson. And it's united we stand, divided we fall. This popular song led up to the American Revolution, which we're about to talk about briefly. Then Kentucky adopted it as a state motto in 1792. Winston Churchill came along and then remade it very popular. So, here's my number 1 reasons, and there's many of them. I just gathered up 5 here today. Number 1 reason why I think the internal revolution has started. Janine Pirro used to be with Fox News. Crime has gone down. That's the question she was asked. Watch how she answers it. Now, I want you to notice the reporter doesn't want righteousness. They want the Christian nation, America, to fall. The video.
It's never enough. This changed. This changed. It's never enough. You tell these families crime has dropped. You tell the mother of the intern who was shot going out from McDonald's near the Washington Convention Center, oh, crime is down. You tell the kid who was just beat the hell and back with a severe concussion and a broken nose, crime is down. No, that falls on deaf ears, and my ears are deaf to that, and that's why I fight the fight.
Number 2, another Jean Pirro. What about rehabilitation? She's asked. Now, I want you to notice she doesn't have the answer. She goes on to say, that's not my job. Well, it is our job. Matthew 28 says, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to all the nations. Those that receive it get saved, those that don't are damned. So I want you to notice that she doesn't have the answer. I'm not attacking Jenny Pirro. In terms of her job, it's not her job. But my question is, so where are the pastors? Where are the churches? Where are the Christians whose job it is to see that this Christian-started nation turns back to Jesus? My point is, for some reason, no one seems to be able to say the name Jesus. Jesus is the solution to our problems. Watch the video.
What about preventative? Do you or the president plan to do anything to address the root causes of crime in D.C., such as truancy?
My job is to try to heal the victims and prosecute the criminal. Everybody else can deal with rehabilitating the individual. I honestly am not concerned about why they commit crimes. My concern is if they commit crimes. My concern is the victims of the crimes. That's my job as a U.S. attorney.
Now let's go to number 3. America has rejected Jesus and his righteousness. In this video, the people of Washington, D.C. ain't having it. I want you to look. You see that picture behind me? That's a clear picture of what's really going on. Americans refuse help in cleaning up their city. It's not just Washington, D.C., and it's not just the big cities. Many of the cities across America like their sin. Watch. Now let's go to number 4. Citizens loot 52 stores. Now, I want you to look at this. Democrats go into meltdown mode as Trump launches Washington, D.C. takeover. That's what they call it, takeover. They don't see it as Trump is doing something the other 45 presidents never got around to doing, clean it up. Then the next one says D.C. residents who oppose Trump cleaning up the city react. Oh, he shouldn't be making those kinds of decisions. He's more like a dictator. Everybody now is in like a big old gumbo pot. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't know. You should be for cleaning up the crime, cleaning up the wicked ones. But America is not. We are just ripe and ready for the internal revolution. Now, MSNBC contributor Eddie Glaude has a tedious meltdown, and I'm going to show you part of that meltdown where he just gets really upset over Trump trying to clean our nation. Watch.
Chris, to be honest with you, I'm trying to hold my temper. I think there's an ongoing argument that he's having in his head with Black Lives Matter. There's an ongoing argument that he's having with the questions around criminal justice reform and police reform. It's interesting that he really doesn't really care about what's actually happening in D.C. on a certain level, because he's not trying to get at the underlying root causes. He's not looking at examples of how to address rising crime rates that doesn't require a form of policing that leads to increased incarcerality and the like. Let's look at what's going on in Baltimore. Let's look at what's happening actually in places like Baltimore and Chicago, right? So part of what we have to do is to understand, and Oakland, we have to understand this, Chris, within the context of Donald Trump's racial politics and within the context of his effort to get Epstein off the front pages. I understand David's point, but when we try to treat this as a rational response, then we lose sight of the actual politics that's being played here. And he's actually trying to give his base red meat to get them off of the Epstein story, and it's on the backs of citizens in Washington, D.C. He's going to undermine the democratic process in the district.
Now let's go to number 5. Many Americans refuse righteousness. They like their sin. They like living outside the church, outside of Jesus. They don't love Jesus. They don't love his righteousness or his laws. And so consequently, those that do are in a fight against those that do not. Hear me out. This guy, Clandestine, says, the Trump administration released a series of documents showing incontrovertible evidence that the Obama regime, the IC, the MSM, the DNC are still engaged in a coup to overthrow Trump. They haven't stopped. And the truth is, the devil ain't going to stop. And now, U.S. military is being deployed to D.C. and potentially other cities to quell crime and violence in these Democrat-run strongholds. All of this is happening while grand juries, look at this, grand juries are being impaneled for the Russiagate conspiracy. Oh, it's more than the Russiagate. It's 500,000 people in America about to be arrested. That's why Trump is getting all of the prisons ready to fill them up. And while Trump and his administration does not have been warning us that accountability is coming for this treasonous plot, it is wrong to suggest that we are in sort of a quasi-cold civil war. Is it wrong? No, it's not wrong. Is it wrong to suggest the Dems' coup against Trump meets the criteria of an actual insurrection? No, it is about to meet the criteria of an internal revolution. Now, all these years, I used to think internal revolution might be something like burning buildings and tearing down things. That's not an internal revolution. If you look it up, and I finally looked it up, an internal revolution is when the people of that nation rise up and shed blood to pull down the current government. We're not there yet, but as you recall, that one guy was firing bullets at ICE. So you could say the first blood has been drawn. You could say it started. The last line says, I think technically, we are at war with a domestic threat. We are at war with the, quote, enemy from within. There you go. I like the way he said it. That's the reason I put it on. CNN's effort to ridicule Trump. Okay, CNN ought to be for the turning around of evil, the cleaning up the cities. If they are Americans, they should be for it. CNN's effort to ridicule Trump as Washington's Batman backfires as social media hails cool comparison. CNN's Abby Phillip calls Trump's DC's Batman for federalizing cities' police. Okay, so they're saying he's like Batman. He's tried to clean up the evil. And they think that's wrong? Well, to the devil, that's wrong. Gateway Pundit says that there is a whistleblower that has been fired after exposing a huge scam. What's the scam? Multiple Kentucky driver's licenses branch employees secretly sold driver's licenses to potentially thousands of illegal aliens for several years. Why would they do that? They want evil in our nation because they know that God will destroy the nation once it reaches a certain evil point. I want to show you a video. This is President Trump. He's speaking at the Kennedy Center, and he makes an announcement. I want you to watch the announcement. He says, we're going to have, well, here, I'll let you just hear it.
They just don't want to prove anything. They just, we meet with them and they say, as Nancy Reagan said, just say no. They go, oh, just say no. They're afraid to approve anything. If we say we want to stop crime in this country, or as an example, bail, we want to make it so that people, if they murder somebody, they're in jail. They don't get out on no bail. They say, we don't want that. We want people to murder somebody and they immediately are released and they go out and murder somebody else. It's a big problem, a tremendous problem. By the way, we're going to go for statutes in D.C. and then ultimately for the rest of the country where that's not going to be allowed. Because it was when they did the cashless bail thing that the numbers really started going up. In this city, in New York, in Chicago, in Los Angeles, no matter where they have it, the numbers went through the roof. So we're going to meet with them, of course. I'd like to meet with them. We're going to tell them all these good things, and they're going to tell us no. And then we're going to go out and we're going to vote it in by the Republicans, because I don't believe that anybody is capable of making a deal with these people. They have gone crazy. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Your federalization of the police has a 30-day limit unless Congress acts to extend it. Are you talking to Congress about extending it, or do you believe 30 days is sufficient?
Well, if it's a national emergency, we can do it without Congress, but we expect to be to Congress before Congress very quickly. And again, we think the Democrats will not do anything to stop crime, but we think the Republicans will do it almost unanimously. So we're going to need a crime bill that we're going to be putting in. And it's going to pertain initially to D.C. We're going to use it as a very positive example. And we're going to be asking for extensions on that, long-term extensions, because you can't have 30 days. 30 days that's by the time you do it. We're going to have this in good shape. And don't forget, in the border, everyone said it would take years and you'd have to go back to Congress. I never went to Congress for anything. I just said, close the border. And they closed the border. And that was the end of it. I didn't go back to Congress. We're going to do this very quickly, but we're going to want extensions. I don't want to call national emergency. If I have to, I will. But I think the Republicans in Congress will approve this pretty much unanimously.
What he's saying is the Democrats are not going to participate in anything good for this nation. They are communists. They are working to destroy the last Christian nation on earth. Veritas says, this whistleblower, now this is a confirmation on the prior article we were talking about, former AG Bill Barr, a media figure, used burner phones to run illegal immigration visa fraud scheme for elites and billionaires. So this U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr has been caught running an illegal immigration visa fraud scheme, putting a lot of money in his pockets, bringing evil people into our nation. He's supposed to be one of the guys that cleans it up. Injustice. Well, he's injustice, but he's not doing justice. He goes on to say wealthy foreigners are obtaining U.S. visas through sham companies, and Bill Barr not only knows about it, he's actively participating in the scheme. Why? To make money. This guy says that documents, text, and handwritten meeting notes show that from 21 to 23, Barr met repeatedly with Fulton County D.A. Fonnie Willis, special prosecutor, with Jack Smith, and political operative Armstrong Williams. These weren't casual chats. They were strategy sessions to coordinate legal attacks on Trump in multiple jurisdictions. I think that's what you call treason. Okay, so when there is an organization, especially when it's high in the government, that is seeking to destroy the leadership in that government, can't you call that an internal revolution? Now, it hasn't got big and bloody yet, but it would meet the definition, wouldn't it? Let's go on. January 19th, 23, Williams texted confirming a Barr-Willis meeting. By February 27th of 23, meeting notes revealed that Barr, urging Willis to hit Trump, with Georgia's RICO statute, calling it the most effective way to entangle him in court, and that's exactly what they did. The whistleblower says that Barr and Willis discussed the timing of charges in order to make them stick. In other words, this was well planned out to try to keep Trump out of the White House, and then once he's in, to tie him up so he can't do anything. The article goes on to say, that's only one part of it. The same whistleblower accuses Barr of running an illegal visa operation. That's what the other article said too. So in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let a thing be established. Fast-tracking work visas for foreign nationals through political back channels, bypassing oversight and leveraging his connections to shield the scheme from scrutiny. This wasn't about helping people. It was about profits and power and tearing down this nation. That's what it's really about. So, are there going to be massive arrests? Yep, there's going to be massive arrests. If true, This means the former Attorney General of the United States, now think about that. This is the guy that's supposed to be standing up for righteousness and justice in the legal means more than anyone else, was actively weaponizing the law against a political opponent while breaking it for personal gain. What should happen to a person that does that? Well, I don't think it's my place to say what the punishment should be, other than to simply say it needs to be fair. Okay, now let's talk about something. The Civil War, I know a lot of people say it was over slavery, but that's only half of it. What it really was is a fight over states' rights, because the North said you don't have the right to have slaves. The South said we do have the right. So that's what it was really. Now, of course, a lot of people say it's over slavery, but it was more than just slavery. But my point is, when there's two groups of people within a nation fighting each other, that turned out to be a civil war. But what else is coming? I'm saying that America is the divided nation. For example, we are divided black against white. You know, there's not a white entertainment television, but there's a BET, a black entertainment television. Okay, wait a minute. I thought we're supposed to be colorblind. I thought we're not supposed to see color. Well, how come there's a black entertainment television then? Okay, see what I'm saying? I'm saying it needs to be colorblind. Then there's the rich versus the poor. Now, Mom Dommy up in New York is saying we need to get rid of everybody that's rich. Okay, what that's trying to do is make everybody poor, but then that's communism. They don't want to call it communism, but that's exactly what it is. So we have a battle between rich and poor. The poor people want to get rid of all the rich people, and in the process, if you get rid of all of the rich people, you just make more people poor. I like what one person said. The difference between capitalism and communism is this. Communism is the equal distribution of poverty. Let me say it again. Communism is the equal distribution of poverty, and capitalism is the unequal distribution of wealth. The unequal distribution of wealth or the equal distribution of poverty. Which would you rather have? Well, if you want to destroy a nation, you vote in communism. And I heard another person say, I thought this was real good, you can vote in communism, but you can't vote it out. The only way you get rid of communism is either you move the Christians out, like they did when this nation was formed 200 some odd years, 300 years ago, or it's blood. Then we have the Democrat-Republican issue. Okay, so we have people living side by side that hate each other. It used to be, I'm told, that Democrats and Republicans would have barbecues together, they would go to the movies together, and they fellowship together. They saw things differently, but they worked together. But today, Democrats have absolutely nothing to do with the Republicans, vice versa. There's a war between Democrat and Republican. Then crime, no crime. Well, some people want to have plenty of crime, don't stop the crime, and then the Christians want no crime. They want righteousness. Justice versus no justice. Defund the police. We don't want to have any police. Let's send out social workers. Yeah, right. Well, that's the recipe to destroy the last Christian nation. Police or defund the police. Well, if we don't have any police, then what do we have? We have chaos. And what does communism say about that? Out of chaos, the phoenix will rise. If it's not broken, don't fix it. So first we have to do is break the old system so we can raise up the new communist system that's even worse. Love Jews, hate Jews. Okay, so are any of these fitting of America? Yes, they are. Now, let me say for the last time here, this is the least wonderful time of the year. Okay, it's not the best or the most wonderful. It's the least wonderful time for Prophecy Club. because this is vacation time. This is when there's people going back to school, school clothes, school supplies, and let's forget about Prophecy Club right now. So consequently, I don't know, for the last 3 months, we've been struggling. And the last time, if I ask casually, I find I don't get hardly any support. So I'm asking not casually. I'm saying we need help. We need help. Today, we're already under the minimum. And I looked at the balance and I said, Lord, it's up to you. There is absolutely nothing I can do to stop it falling. I don't have any savings. I don't have any hidden away. We're under the minimum. So if you can help us, thank you. Now would be a good time. Hello, I'm Stan.
And I'm Leslie Johnson.
And we want to invite you to the PhD, the Prophecy, Healing, and Deliverance Conference.
So I hope you'll come from September the 11th through the 14th.
We have 6 seasoned ministers, 10 sessions, 2.5 days. I'm going to be speaking on Mark of the Beast, dangers of AI, and the new timing of the rapture.
And I'm going to speak on how to get ahead spiritually, close those spiritual doors, and the role of the prophet.
Lou and Sunhee Deliverance Ministries are going to be speaking on healing childhood experiences, what is eating at you, spirit of infirmity, and yes, they will be doing deliverances.
Yes. And then Pastor Kate and Jonathan will be speaking on relationships.
It's limited to 100 registrations, so go to prophecyclub.com, get signed up, or
traintheprophets.com. We hope to see you there.
If you want to be on the end of making money, gold and silver is preserving your money. If you want to be on the end of making money, then you might want to call prophecyclubcrypto.com, or actually go to it, or call that number at the bottom right corner. Ask them about crypto if you're in the position where you can make money. If you don't want to lose your life's savings, if you have an IRA or a 401k, the thing to do is call 800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. These folks are Christians and they specialize in helping people not lose their life savings in the event of a stock market crash and things like that. Look, most of the 401ks, most of the IRAs are in paper, backed by paper, and as Lindsey Williams says, if it's in paper, it's worth the paper it's written on. You can lose it all. 1-800-200-GOLD. 800-200-GOLD. Hey, give them a call. Doesn't hurt, doesn't cost you anything. See if they can give you some good advice. When the suitcase nukes, I didn't say if, I said when the suitcase nukes go off, if you want your car to start, if you want your computers and your refrigerators and things like that, anything with a computer chip to work, you want to have one of these from EMPShield.com. EMPShield.com. And they have videos up there. It takes about 10 minutes to put on. It's not complicated at all. And if you use the word prophecy, promo code prophecy, you get a $50 discount and it helps your prophecy.